counterfeiting, by its very nature, is a fraud on the consumer. It's presenting goods of one party as the legitimate brand owner's goods. So it fundamentally gets the root of, or threatens the roots of what a brand is. That trust, the communication between the brand owner and the consumer. Well, the fight against counterfeiting is a huge issue for INTA and its members. It poses a really significant threat to brand owners across a huge variety of industry sectors. But it does much more than that. It's a threat to government and to society generally in the context of reduced tax revenues and the illicit trade, the criminality. But it's also a threat to consumers, both in terms of shoddy and low quality products. But perhaps more alarmingly, it presents consumer safety threats, particularly with safety critical products such as pharmaceuticals and food and drink, but actually in many other industry sectors. So it truly is a top priority for INTA and its members. A year or so ago, the OECD, in collaboration with the EU IPO, released a study looking at the estimated scale of counterfeit product crossing borders, so the international trade in counterfeit products. And quite alarmingly, they estimated that the size of that trade was in the area of $461 billion. To put that in context, that equates to approximately 2.5% of world trade. So truly enormous figures. More recently, the INTA and ICC BASCAP published a report supporting the scale of the problem and suggesting that it, if left unchecked, would continue to grow at quite an alarming pace. So it's truly a significant issue at a global level. Well, the online environment, the digital world, is a huge opportunity for legitimate trade and for legitimate businesses, and INTA and INTA's members embrace those opportunities. But of course, it's a huge opportunity for those trading in counterfeit goods, in that it presents anonymity. They can hide their true identity. They can pop up in many online environments. It's a truly challenging environment for brand owners and for law enforcement alike to deal with the problem. But perhaps more importantly, it presents a much more difficult environment for consumers to make truly informed decisions about whether they're purchasing genuine or counterfeit goods. INTA has and continues to invest resources and a significant amount of volunteer time, particularly through the Anticounterfeiting Committee, but also beyond that, in really focusing on three areas: legislation, engagement with stakeholders, but also raising consumer awareness. In relation to legislation, the Anti-Counterfeiting Committee routinely monitors and comments on draft legislation. It's obviously critical that the foundation, the laws available to brand owners and law enforcement are robust and strong. And we also look at the implementation of those laws, ensuring that what's on the statute book offers real practical remedies for brand owners and for law enforcement. In relation to stakeholders, it's not a war that's going to be won by any one company or any one country or law enforcement agency. So INTA, through the Anti-Counterfeiting Committee, works tirelessly to encourage collaboration and a dialogue between companies, between countries, between law enforcement agencies, and also in relation to the intermediaries. There are a number of companies, particularly in the online space, and their collaboration is absolutely critical if we're to win this fight. For the last 5 years, INTA has been running an Unreal campaign, and this has focused on delivering awareness events to students, the 14 to 18-year-old age group, and we think that's really key, reaching out to the consumers of the future and helping them understand the true cost of counterfeiting and the true impact of purchasing counterfeit goods. We've reached out to over 9,000 students in classrooms, and more broadly through the online materials we've reached out to 120,000 or so. So it's a small start in the context of the world at large, but we think it's a really important step in the right direction. Well, it's a truly global phenomena, and it's one that's not going to be solved by any one company or country or law enforcement agency. I think to really deliver a strong deterrent blow to those engaged in counterfeiting, the response needs to be global and it needs to be joined up. Companies collaborating, brand owners and intermediaries and online marketplaces, but also companies working in close partnership with law enforcement around the world and encouraging a dialogue between law enforcement agencies across the world. It really demands a truly global response.